Hi, welcome everyone. Welcome back to Baking with Jen. Again, I'm Jen. Let's make this. There we go. Hi, I'm Jen, and this is my baking show. So, for the month of March, we are participating in the Bake a Wish weekly baking challenge. This technically isn't for the challenge, but meringue cookies could be considered a cookie, so we could consider those part of the challenge. But this week is just, or today is just kind of for me. So we're going to try out making the meringue cookies and we're going to make boba. Um, I love boba. That's one of my favorites. I got the ingredients to make it like a year ago and I still haven't quite made it yet. It's one of those things that's kind of time consuming, and so I just haven't put aside the time to do it. But since we have to bake the meringues for an hour and then leave them in the hour, leave them in the oven for another hour to 4 hours, depending on how long they take to dry out. Um, we have time to do something else. So we're going to go ahead and get started on this meringue because that is going to take a little bit of time. So we're going to start on the meringue and then we'll work on the boba. But I was imagining that working on the boba is gonna look like one of those cartoons where they pile up all the dishes on the stove, and so you see this like little pot boiling away with like stacks of pots behind it. That's what I'm imagining. It's probably not going to happen that way, but it's a lot of cooking sugar in pots, so we'll have to see how that goes. Alright, so let's get into our um, mixer cam. I put the mixer on the other side of the kitchen so that we can try to hear because it's going to be going for a few minutes. That mixer is going to be noisy and it's going to just be going for a little while. I'm having a hard time with my camera here. It's okay. It's okay. Technical difficulties. Oh, is there a song named Technical Difficulties? There it is. Um, I believe there should be a song called Technical Difficulties, just because. I think my dad at one point said he wanted to name a band Technical Difficulties, and then that way, if they had technical difficulties, it would just be part of the show. I think so. I don't remember. I don't remember. It was something along those lines, not specifically, but close. All right, so let's get over to our mixer cam. Oh, hi, see computer cam? Let's remove this for now. We had the computer cam for a minute. Egg whites, vanilla, and cream of tartar. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I knew which ingredients. Half a teaspoon, eighth a teaspoon. All right, so mixer cam. Ooh, mixer cam's a little unbalanced. A little unbalanced. Does that mean that my camera's weird? That would be fitting, right? Band copies. I think it sounds like the most fitting thing ever. Okay, so we are this one. There we go. Mixer cam. And I am preheating the oven to 200 degrees because that's what the recipe says. Okay, so oven on 200. And then we have mixer. So right now we're doing egg whites, vanilla, and cream of tartar. cream of tartar helps stabilize egg whites so that so they do stuff. Oh, so that they don't break down as quickly, because if you just if you beat up egg whites into a nice foam and then just leave them alone, the bubbles will start popping and it'll lose a little bit of volume. But if you have the cream of tartar, it helps so that it doesn't do that. Okay, so because we're whipping egg whites, and egg whites don't like any oil. Not saying that there's any oil in this bowl, but I just want to give it a quick wipe out just to make sure that it doesn't really have any residue. Like there's just nothing on my paper towel. This is a clean bowl, but we're wiping it just to kind of make sure that that's all clean, like buff out any oil. Like sometimes things just get a little bit of oil residue on them. And so I just want to make sure that that's not in there if it would be, if that makes sense. Okay, so we start with 3 egg whites. I'm going to break them into a bowl first, and then egg whites in the big bowl, egg yolks in little bowl, so that we're not here. Look, because if one of them breaks, like I said, oil's not good. Egg yolks are made of oil; it would just end up badly. So we have the egg white in the little bowl, and then we put the egg yolk in the other little bowl to save it for later. And I'll make some custard later, not on here, but later tonight, because custard. And then pour that in there. I should have wiped this bowl out too to make sure this didn't have any oil in it. Oh well. That's okay. It will be all right. Okay, please don't break little egg yolk. Yay, egg yolk didn't break. But there's a spot. Is it a fluffy? Did I just drop a fluffy piece out of my hand or something? I think I did. Shh. Got clothing fluff. Goodbye, clothing fluff. And so 2 egg whites, and we have our 3rd egg white. So we need half a teaspoon of vanilla and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. And as per normal, I'm not actually going to measure them like I should. I'm not even going to weigh them, which is, I like weighing things because it's super easy and I don't really have to worry about it. You weigh it, it's there, it's done, it's correct. Like if you have a cup, then it could be off by an amount and you don't even know. But then also you have things like they say baking is a science, but then the weather affects baking as well. So how, I understand that weather is part of science, but if the weather is affecting what you're making, so let's say it's raining and you're trying to make meringues, well, you need meringues to dry out. You don't need meringues to be damp. So it's going to take longer to dry out, and you could potentially use more sugar or something, or less sugar or something in order to make up for it. Yeah, that's all technically science, but it's you have to take into account what's going on too. Okay, so I just kind of poured some vanilla and sprinkled some cream of tartar in there, and it looks like about that much. I like I said, I quite honestly was not measuring this today just because there's so little amounts that it's not going to make much of a difference if there's a little too much. So we're just beating this into submission, and this is going to go for a little while. And this is just going to take a little while to whip up and beat into the stiff peaks that we need. So I'm going to mute this camera, and then we're going to go and start working on something else. Okay. So we have that camera working over there. It's mixing nicely. So this recipe calls for 3/4 cup of sugar. And what did we find out the other day? A cup of sugar is 200 grams? Something like that. Double check. But I'm pretty sure a cup of sugar is 200 grams. I really need to finish this printout that I'm making. It's just, I'm trying to make it in Canva, which Canva is really great for making stuff. Like if you can do, it has all kinds of templates. I used it to make my logo. I used it to make my thumbnail. I used them to make all kinds of stuff. I used to make coloring books in Canva. So like Canva is really awesome. I should partner with Canva. There might be a link to sign up for Canva if you want it. Because Canva is where I do anything visually. And I specifically signed up for the Pro. Yeah. And I bought a year at a time because it's a lot cheaper that way. But I bought Canva because you get free licensing to all of their pro stuff. And I find a lot of their pro stuff is really awesome for what I like to do. So, like I said, I'm making my little template-y thing in Canva. But it has a hard way of matching like numbers and shapes to a grid. And so it's just a lot of like, oh, I need this grid a little bit bigger, but then I want to put something in it and it's off a little bit because the grid's weird. And so it's just been really frustrating to deal with. And I'm having a hard time with that because I have to put numbers in the little grid squares because it's like measurements on one side. Okay, we'll do it this way. Measurements on one side with the ingredient across the top. So if it's like sugar and you need a 1/4 cup of sugar, then it's like this is this many grams or this many ounces. Like, so we can write it out easily. And I'm making the sheet and I really love it. I just am having formatting issues and they're making me mad, so I'm ignoring it. But it would be so great to have that little printout. This is why I started working on it because I'm like, I want a printout that I can just have like a chart where I can look at it. Who knew making a chart would be so difficult? Oh well. Anyway, sugar and grams. We're just gonna pull it up again. That's fine. Fine. Cup of sugar, 200 grams. See, that's what I just said a minute ago. I'm like, I'm pretty sure a cup of hunger is just 200 grams. A cup of sugar is 200 grams. Ooh. All right. So let's measure out our sugar so that once the mixer, nope, wrong way, that way, that mixer. Once the eggs get more light and fluffy, then that should be good. So I'm gonna take the sugar over there and we're gonna check on those because those look like they're starting to get a little texture to them. So, yeah, let's pause what we're doing here and go check on those egg whites. Okay, we see that it's nice and foamy, but like, here, let's turn this off for a second. You'll notice, like, can you see that? It drips and then it just almost immediately like goes back into itself. Those are nowhere near, we're not there yet. So Okay, so while we have this all quiet for a second and we have our like cooking cam, I'm just gonna use a little plastic cup because I don't need a big bowl or anything. It's just gonna be poured into here. So a cup would actually be kind of perfect for pouring. It would help if I hit the power button instead of the unit button. Oh, it's fine now, it's fine. So we're looking for 250 grams of sugar. 50, no, 150, I apologize. That would be like 2.5 cups. Something, 130, we just need 20, 15, so 146, 147, 49, 150, yay, we made it. Okay, awesome sauce. So we have our sugar already. So now we just need this to get to stiff peaks so we can add our sugar. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on mixing, and we are gonna turn over to starting our boba because that's gonna take a little bit too because it's sugar melting down. There's actually I plan on having a couple of pots going over here because there's a lot of boiling stuff. Oh, that's what we'll start off. We'll start with the milk. We'll start with milk. Okay. So this is just going to turn back on, and then we're going to take this camera and go start working on the milk. Too much mixing. There we go. Nice amount of mixing. All right. So I just want to get a little bit of space between us and the mixer because that can get kind of loud. All right. So what we need is well, we don't need, but to make the boba pearls, it really is just brown sugar water and then tapioca starch. I have tapioca flour. I'm hoping this will work. So that's what we need to make the boba pearls. But in order to make our final cup of boba, we'll make the pearls, and then you simmer the pearls in water and then simmer them in a sugar sauce. So that's 2 separate simmers there. And there is the milk. Like I like milk tea. So I'm gonna make some milk tea. So we're gonna start off with 2 cups of milk. And so 1 cup of milk it should be 240 grams. So I don't think there might be a cup in here. So 1 cup is 240. Oh yeah, this is just over a cup of milk. So there's 248 in here. 249. There we go. Well, so that would be 480. So we need 480 grams. 400. Oh, 5. Okay, so let's do this as 3 cups of milk. 2.5 cups of milk? Okay, fine. 2.5 cups of milk. So half a cup of milk, 240, 120. That's half a cup of milk. So 480 plus 120 plus 600. Yay! I can do math in real time sometimes. 555. That's cool. Apparently, I'm supposed to do 1.5 cups of milk today. 604. Close enough. And so with milk, you never want to boil milk. It scalds and gets a funny flavor if you boil it. So I'm just putting it down on low. And then I have some loose leaf Earl Grey. You can't tell unless you look at the label. that it's Earl Grey, but just have some loose leaf Earl Grey tea. And once this gets warm, I'll go ahead and add the tea to it. And then we'll let that steep for a little while and then strain that off and get this chilled because we do want this chilled. All right, so while that's coming up to temperature, let's check on our egg whites. They're still mixing nicely, though I do think that this should probably get turned up. So I'm going to mute the microphone and turn this up a little bit and see if it whips up a little better. All right, so this is looking a lot better. We're not quite at, where's that stiff peaks? I don't think we're quite where we need to be though, but we are at our soft peak point where we can start adding a little bit of sugar. But it looks like it's staying in place. You see it? Sometimes it's hard to see against the shadow. You see it? Look, it's not moving. Staying there. Like if you look at that one, it's not like bending over or anything. From what I understand, that's stiff peaks. We got there. Awesome. Okay. So stiff peaks done. So now we're just going to keep beating this kind of on a lower, and we're just going to slowly add the sugar in. Like it says a tablespoon at a time. So slowly. All right, there we go. It's mixing, and then a little sprinkle of sugar. Let that fully mix in, and let's see where that gets it. I don't know if this will take a long time. I don't think it should. It shouldn't. It's let me get a spatula. This is one of those times when you want a bendy spatula because you want it to be nice and scrapey, and you don't need it to be stiff so that it will touch things. Nope, that's not the word. Like, so if you're gonna mix some things that are like maybe most cookie doughs, they're kind of more stiff than, like, this is beaten egg whites. Like beaten egg whites isn't very hard. It's really light and fluffy. Like whipped cream's light and fluffy. But like a cookie dough would be a lot firmer than that. And so you'd want something that doesn't bend so easy. But in this one, it doesn't really matter if it bends easy or not. Still whipping. I just wanted to scrape down the edges to make sure that everything was getting incorporated correctly. Because I noticed that I had put the sugar kind of on the side here, and it wasn't going in nicely. So just scrape down the edges, and it's fine. So you probably need a spoon or something to stir the milk. because milk likes to be stirred. So, all right. This is mixing nicely. Let's add a little bit more sugar. Ooh. So, as we're adding sugar, I don't know if you can tell. Like we looked at this before and it was at a stiff peak, and now it's like bending over. Here. Like, get it? And then it bends over. Like before, it was just staying straight. That's what happens with this. As you add sugar, it kind of breaks it down a little bit, but then you need to keep beating it because we still want them at stiff peaks. But we're going to slowly incorporate the sugar so it doesn't get all crazy. All right. Slowly incorporate. And you guys don't need to see this, but you'll try and see it anyway. The milk's just getting warm. And so I just want to stir it so that it doesn't like stick to the bottom or scald or do anything crazy like that. And it's just been in here for a few minutes, so we're not even here. Ooh, here we go. Let's put a candy thermometer on it. And then we will know what it's doing. Ooh, we're going scientific. All right, so our scientific candy thermometer, or a deep fat fryer, or if you just don't want to scald your milk. Now, do I know what temperature the milk needs to be at? No, I have no idea what temperature the milk should be at, but it's probably going to be over 100 because it's going to be warm. But so I don't even think it's warm enough to register. Yeah, it's still cold. It's cold to the touch. The bottom of that is 100, so it's not there yet. All right. It's probably about time to add a little bit more sugar. See? We'll just go back and forth. We'll add some sugar. We'll look at the milk. We'll add some sugar. We'll look at the milk. See, and I think we're back into stiff peaks. See? Just go back and forth. And we still have most of the sugar to add. So let's work on that. This probably shouldn't take as long as this is gonna, but it's okay. All right, that seems to have been beaten for a minute. That like's incorporated, and now we're gonna add more sugar. And I don't know if you can see that bottom one, this bottom peak down here. It just folded over, like when I lift it up. So it tells me we're back at soft peaks. We just go back and forth between soft and stiff peaks. So once this is done, we do want it to be all shiny and glossy, which it's doing. So we're on the right track, which that makes me happy. Have I mentioned that I've never made meringue cookies before? Because I've never made meringue cookies before. This is me trying out making meringue cookies. Holy cow, that could have been weird. But it's one of those. It's like it's only weird if you make it weird. I'm making it weird. Let's take it there. All right. Luckily, we have a towel on hand. I'll just wipe off this top part. The rest of that can fling off at some point. Come Well, I was trying to just like wipe off the spatula until I dropped everything. Okay, well, there we go. I'll just put more sugar and then go again. I really like that it's still shiny. That's one of those things that I worry about. It's like, it keeps going. Is it still going to be shiny? Like it's supposed to be shiny. I don't want to mess this up. The stakes are high. Like, oh no, you messed up making cookies. Terrible, terrible. Go to jail. Do not pass go. Not collect $200. Well, I wasn't going to collect $200 anyway, so doesn't matter. Mix, 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 mix. Okay, let's add a little bit more sugar because look, it's balling up nicely. It's sticking in the whisk, so that tells me it's nice and firm, which is what we need for these cookies. We need a firm foam so that they will stand up and then they just kind of dry out in the oven. And like I said, I haven't made these before, so I don't know if they're just gonna dry. Like, yes, I read the recipe, and the recipe basically says that they bake and dry out in the oven. So I am going off of what I read in the recipe. It's probably too much sugar, but that's okay. I'm getting impatient. Um, so, but I trust the recipe, and then other people who I know I've either eaten meringue cookies, they love meringue cookies, all that kind of fun stuff. They say that it's basically just dried out. So that's what we are working on. I just set up my sheet pans, and this is almost ready. We're almost ready. I'm so excited. Okay. Okay, I will enter in one more. So I'm just gonna, I shouldn't have put the sugar in first. Oh, I should have scraped it and then sugar it. That's what we'll do for the next one. That's what we'll do in the last one. We'll scrape it and sugar it and it'll be good. But it's coming together nicely. It's nice and fluffy. I love it. This is awesome. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So I'm going to take this off and beat the egg whites out of it. See, and I couldn't even get them out. That's okay. And then scrape the bowl, get you all scrapity. Like that is a fairly stiff foam. That's like not going anywhere. I love it. This is awesome. We only have a little bit more sugar to incorporate. And I feel like this is like perfect. This is what we need. This is what we need in our lives. Okay, so whisk back on, scrape the spatula because we want all of that goodness in the bowl and not hanging out on the spatula. Which we're going to use this to like put everything in the bag, so it's okay to be fine. Okay, all of the sugar is now in the bowl, and we're on our final mix. Let's turn that down just a little bit. All right, I think we're looking pretty good. We'll do the final really fast. And that looks awesome. We'll make sure that, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a stiff peak. That bottom part didn't like stay up, but like the only reason why that's not doing right is because it's weird. But this feels very, very thick, which is supposed to. And then, well, I guess technically it could probably spend another few seconds mixing. Like, let me get a dollop that's not like a super long thread. Because if it's not a super long thread, it basically stays in place. So we're just going to call that good. It won't come off. It's sticky. It's sticky. That's a fact. At least it's sticking somewhere. So, okay. Get all of that taken care of. There we go. Get that off of there. All right. Wait. So, this just reminded me of our doorbell. I don't know if you can hear that. Our doorbell actually sounds really pretty if you hold it. If you like press and hold it, it does this cute little chime. But if you don't hold it and you just press it, then it just goes just like that. Don't. It's like, okay, sure, why not? Oops. Apparently I didn't put that back on there, right? Oh, well. Scrape the sides real quick. And now if you have a pastry bag, use a pastry bag. And it says to use a star tip. My star tip appears to be missing. Still, I am going to take a lovely Ziploc bag and to get my little star tip, I am going to take the tip of this bag, because normally if I was going to use a bag like this, I would just like cut across and get a little thing. But I'm going to take it and make a couple of little triangles so that, you know, let's not set up little plastic pieces over our bowl of stuff. That might not be good. Anyway, so little triangles. And so we're going to make our own little star tip. There we go. I don't know how star tippy those are, but I can see triangles. Do you see the triangles? I see the triangles. We have triangles at least. So triangles, and then like it opens up into more triangles. So let's see how that works out. Now, one of the cool things that you can do to make this kind of thing easier for you is get a big cup. If you have one of those really old movie theater cups, like the extra large ones, that would work really good just because they're wide even at the base. Make sure you put the one in there and put it to the bottom of the cup and then fold it over. And that just makes it a little bit easier to put stuff in there. So we're gonna just put all of this in the bag. Scrape off on the side of the bag. Like, you can add food coloring to this too if you want it to be a fun color. I'm just going to do white today because I've never made these and I want to see what they do. And like when you do most baked goods, they turn a color. But these are baked so low and slow that they shouldn't turn a lot of color. They might turn some color. And I want to see how much color they turn before I try making them with extra color. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me anyway. Okay, so now this part is pretty full from what I can see. Well, we're still going to leave the rim rolled over, but we can take it out of the cup and kind of shake it down. And then we'll just, this is nice and fluffy, nice and big and fluffy. Oh, I need more hands. I don't have enough hands. It's okay. This is why you use the cup method, because it helps hold this upright and it's nice. I should have gotten the last of my foam out of the bowl before I took this. Okay, so I'm just gonna lay that down for a second. Get that last of this out of here, all gathered up on my spatula. Yes, I know it's spatula, but spatula sounds just so much more fun. Spatula. And I like how there's more than one kind of spatula. Anyway, got most of it out of the bowl. This stuff is really sticky. This almost feels like marshmallow, which I think it's a similar concept to marshmallow. But I think marshmallow is made with gelatin and meringues made with eggs. I don't know. We'll find out in a couple of weeks when we make marshmallows. All right. So we have our little pretend star tip here. Oh, I just put that in there. That goop. Oh, well. So I'm just trying to gather this and this around. And we're going to treat it like a pastry bag and just kind of push everything into the corner and twist the top because we are trying to get everything to push out of this little edge here. All right. Turn around. Okay, here I'm like, how are we gonna do this? Move the mixer to the side. We'll move this way, and we'll put our little things. So these are little dots. Let's see how those look. I don't even know if I'm gonna do this right. So, I think you're just supposed to like push and let it like foam out and come up. Okay, maybe I came up too fast. Push, come up. That looks better. They still kind of look like little poop piles. So I don't know. I'm doing something wrong. It's not supposed to look like little poop piles. Maybe it is. But you do that little like meringue thing. Yeah, definitely not swirls. Like swirling gives you the poop pile effect. Okay, so I think having an actual tip would probably help with this because I think that not having the tip just kind of makes it want to stay in place. So we're going to have little poop piles. That's fun. That's all right. Ooh, I wonder if that one's going to be hollow. Did you guys see that? Like, it got a little hole in the middle when I was doing this. And so let's try to cover up the hole. There we go. And I don't think it helps that I'm left-handed because I'm leaning to the left and these look like they're leaning to the left. All right, can I do this without leaning? Yeah, these are funny shapes. These are small, these are bigger. I don't know. Let's see how these turn out. Oop. Well, so at least with me, doing one-handed is more helpful because I was trying to do two-handed and it just seemed to be taking up more space, time, continuum stuff. I don't know. All right. Well, I do like these size though because these are um looking to be a nice size anyway. Getting down to the end. So just gonna twist this up some more. Most of this is going down pretty good. It's not getting caught up in the twisty bit very much, so that makes me happy there. But we don't have very much. I think maybe this panel be good. Now, if you're not happy with the shape of these, you can always scrape them up and like pack them back in the bag. I don't want to open this bag and put anything else in it. I am afraid of those consequences, so I am just going to live with some differently shaped meringue cookies, and we'll see what happens. Like I said, this is the first time I'm making them. They look good. These look a little small though. Can I add to them? Will they let me add to them? We'll see. So when I make like burger sauce, it's not just fry sauce. There we go. When I make fry sauce, I put down like a little bit of mayonnaise, and then I cover it in mustard, and then I cover all of that in ketchup. And I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing here. Like there's my mayonnaise. Let's put down a little bit of mustard, and then cover the whole thing in ketchup. I don't think it's doing what I want it to do, but we'll see how these turn out in the end. They'll probably still be delicious. But I wonder if they're going to be like multi-structural or if they're going to like come together. Like, is this going to, I don't think these change shape as they cook. So, oh man, this just looks weird. You just kind of push it together. I don't know. I don't know. I never bake these. Does anybody else ever bake these? I haven't baked them. Oh man. I do like I have put like a meringue on a pie, but I think that's a little bit different than this. Oh man. Well, I did prep 2 sheet pans, but these are just a mess. But I don't have like a lot. So we're just gonna add to a couple and pretend that it never happened. Like, you just need a little bit more of a topper. We're just going to improve your toppers. No, like I said, I don't know if it's actually gonna work or not. Because it's not like we dried them out yet. Like, if you look at how to cook, why is the only word coming to mind bibimbap? That is not close to this at all. They're French macarons. Macarons. If you look at how to make macarons, then those tell you to like dry them out for a little bit so that you get that little crust on them. But these aren't dried out yet, so I don't think that they'll be an issue. They'll dry out in the oven. I really want to like change the shape of these. Like, can I just like push them down? No, we don't get connected together. That reminds me, the house I grew up at Tennessee, there was a tree in the front that had like a tree branch that was growing between 2 trunks. So that was just reminding me of that. Okay, so I don't like the shape of these. So we're just gonna take these and kind of swirl it about and pretend that nothing is happening. It's all good. It's all good in the neighborhood. There we go. All right. So we have shapes. I'm not sure what these shapes are considered, but we have shapes, blobby shapes. And so now the oven is preheated to 200 degrees. So, and these are going to bake for like an hour. So we're going to put them in and then it'll just go. And I did prep 2 pans, but it looks like we only need 1. So, and I'm trying to do this in a way that I don't need to like I want to turn off the oven when they're done and just leave it shut. Because if you open it, it lets out heat and stuff starts happening, and we don't want any of that. Oh, we have warm milk. Let's see. I haven't been stirring this, but this is close to 150 degrees. Nice, nice. Okay, so we got nice and warm. There's a little bit of milk on the stove, so it's starting to smell like burnt milk in here. But it's just the stove milk burning. It's not real milk burning. It's not this milk burning anyway. All right, so that is fairly warm. I'm going to leave the heat on, but we're going to go ahead, and it says like quarter cup, half a cup of tea or something. I don't know. We're just going to sprinkle a bunch of tea in there. Sprinkle. Okay, so I got tea. All right, so like I said, this is an Earl Grey tea, just because I want to try out the flavor. I love Earl Grey, so we'll see what it does for milk tea. And you usually buy boba in the shops or buy like the boba kits. So I'm really, really excited to see what's going to happen with trying to make it ourselves. Which brings us to the next thing, which is the boba pearls themselves. I'm going to go ahead and just turn this off and turn off the milk. It's still going to sit warm for a few minutes. Black tea should take about 3 minutes to heat, but or to steep. There we go. That's the word. So yes, black tea should take about 3 minutes to steep, but we're not going to really worry about all of that. This eye is not on yet, so that's why I'm going to put my scale here. We need a measurement of brown sugar. Let's pull the recipe real quick. The recipe for both the meringue and the boba pearls that I'm using are in the description. It is kind of annoying to get down to the recipe for the boba pearls, but there is a button, and you can click the button and it'll take you down there. Or there's, or you can just scroll, either way. So this is 50 grams, and this is dark brown sugar, but we're just gonna, I have light brown sugar, so we're just gonna use that one. So we need 50 grams, and it says, and technically when you measure brown sugar, you do want it to be packed, but if you're gonna weigh it, I don't think it really matters if it's clumped up or not, because that's basically the difference. Like when you pack it, you just compress it down into the cup. The difference is between loosely packed and actually packed is that if it's loosely packed, then it weighs less and you have less sugar in there than if it's like stiffly packed. So you just want to make sure to have the right amount, which 50 grams, there we go, it's 51, but I won't tell if you won't. All right, oh, so we need 60 grams of water. So let's go ahead and measure that out. I actually happen to have a bottle of water here. Yes, that label is beat up because they use this bottle over and over again. That's okay. 0, so we need 60. Now, we're pouring water into a thing, so it's better to do too little at once than too much because we can't take it back out. Okay, 54, 55, 56. Oh, 62. That'll be close enough. It's 51, 62. We're good. All right. So we also don't want this to like be a boiling mess. So I'm going to put this on 3, which is kind of like a medium to, it's kind of medium on my stove. Now, it'll take a little while to come up to temperature. But this is actually one of those places where having a stiffer upper lip, spatula is helpful because it's a caramel. And so when you're stirring it, it's going to be viscous. It's going to want to stay where it wants to stay, and we're going to make it move. There's little chunks in here because sugar clumps. That's just the nature of sugar. But So this is where we're starting. We're melting sugar in water. And we're just gonna let that go. And I don't know if this bowl's gonna have enough space, but we'll try. So we're going to strain the milk. I'm pretty sure that it's at least going to cover the bottom of where the sieve is, but that's okay because I can always pick that up. But we're just straining out the tea. Strain out the tea. I don't know if you could see that, but I just saw steam jump off of everything, so that lets me know it's doing good. Okay. So this is just going to sit and chill, literally. And I'm just running some water in there. This just needs to chill, so I'm just going to stick it in the fridge and let it cool off, because when we make our boba tea, this is our tea milk. It's already done. We're just gonna put it away, and then it'll be cold when we pour it over our ice. And I'm actually I'm gonna let it cool in the. Actually, let's go grab a bottle. Let's bottle this. I have swing top bottles. I like to occasionally make stuff like kombucha, or I really like to make my own tea and then bottle it, and I can put it in the fridge, and then it's not in the way, and I get fresh iced tea that's better than what I can find at a lot of places. So I have a clear bottle here, and then I also have a brown bottle. I prefer if everything fits in the clear bottle, but I don't think it's going to. But I also don't think it's going to take us as much today for making our tea. Like making one thing of milk tea probably isn't going to take. Well, actually, it does take quite a bit. It's like having a latte where it's mostly milk. Ooh, I think I'll actually fit this in one bottle. Like, there's a lot of bubbles up here. Like, there's not a lot of milk left in here. Take the funnel out and show you guys that. Like, the bubbles go up to here. I think that milk can fit in this space. I just need the bubbles to go away. Bubbly milk. God, much milk. Why do you have so much protein? Protein's what makes it bubble. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Fire burning cauldron, bubble, 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 you. Witches. Oh, so when I was on my first deployment, um, I was introduced to this band called Omnia, and I would consider them like a pagan rock band. That's a weird combination, but that's what I consider them anyway. They do a lot more kind of natural earthy stuff since 2008, but back in 2008, they have a album called like Fairy something or other. Anyway, they have Witch's Brew from the Shakespeare play thing as a song. They made that into a song, and that's what I was just kind of singing. Anyway, so we have one bottle of milk tea with just a little bit of extra. So I think this will make my cup of tea here a little bit later. So I'll just set this to the side and let it cool in the air. Well, the bottle is going to go into the fridge for now. I'll move that around later. All right. So let's come check on our sugar water. It's getting warm and it looks like it's melting nicely. So stir to dissolve sugar. So yes, it looks like we have completed step 1. It does look like there's little sugar clumps still, so just if you have sugar clumps, just smash them out. Smash them out. Smash them out. All right. So all of the sugar clumps are out. Okay. I'm sorry, I was just reading the next part. So this does need to come up to a boil. So it's all melted. It needs to come up to a boil. And then it was saying that if you wanted to put something in your tapioca starch, like if you're going to use butterfly pea powder or something like that, something colorful. It's like butterfly tea. It's a bright blue. I want to get some. It looks amazing. Anyways, so we've got going on. All right, and we're just going to measure out the tapioca flour then, because that's the next thing that we need. This is one of those things where it like becomes a dough and you need it, but it's kind of like a pâte à choux where you cook the dough, but then in this instance you knead it. So let's see, we need how much tapioca starch? 100 grams. I can't believe I put my scale away already. Anyway, that it looks like it's coming to a bubble, so let's get this 100 grams weighed out really quick because I think it needs to boil for a minute, but we don't want it to sit for too long. So we're just going to measure out the 100 grams because quite honestly, what we're going to do is we're going to 106 is good enough. We're going to pour part of this in here, and then we're going to pour that in here, and like mix it around and knead it and all that kind of fun stuff. And then we're going to have like some extras for not necessarily kneading, but we're going to like roll it out. So there are a couple of different ways of working the tapioca starch or into rolling these into little balls. I've seen ways of like you just like roll them in your hands, or you get little contraptions that'll roll them for you. There's all kinds of ways to go about this, but I'm gonna roll them by hand. I'm gonna try out some stuff and see what the fastest way like I can roll them by myself, because I don't have any help to roll today. Like if you would like to come and help me roll, feel free. I'm in Nevada. Come over here. All right. Let's see. Comes to a proper boil. Remove the pan from heat. It's not a proper boil though. It's just kind of okay. We need it to come to a proper boil. You know what? We didn't set a timer. Let me set a timer. Let's set a timer for 45 minutes. Okay, timer for 45 minutes. When the timer goes off, we need to check the things and make sure that they're doing good. Okay. Well, it's going to boil. Add slow. Mix it together. As soon as it comes to a proper boil, remove it from the heat. Add 3 to 4 tablespoons tapioca starch. Whisk well. Ooh, so you know what? Let's switch over to a whisk because that looks like a proper boil there. Okay, so we don't want this to heat too quickly. So let's back up a little bit and we're gonna get a hot pad. So that's proper boil. We want it off the heat. Add a bit of tapioca starch. It says 3 to 4 tablespoons. That's 3 tablespoons, right? In my amazing brain of kind of stuff. Anyway, there's some little chunks that I'm just trying to get those worked out. So whisk well but quickly to dissolve the starch in the water. Starch is dissolved in water. Mission accomplished. I can put it to the stove, heat over medium heat while whisking quickly and consistently. If it's heating too quickly, you can remove it. And then it should start to thicken. We want it to be gelatinous. Do you know what gelatinous is? Go eat some Jell-O. That's gelatinous. All right. 2 to 3 minutes and start to go, and then we'll add the rest of the starch and fold and mix and work it into a dough. Ooh, this is like being firm on the bottom. Ooh. I think that's what it means by too quickly. It starts heating too quickly. Oh, am I in trouble? Hopefully I'm not in trouble. Come on, mix faster. It's starting to get gelatinous. I just don't feel like it's there yet. And it's like sticking to the bottom and it's getting gelatinous in parts, but not the whole thing. Oh, am I in trouble? Oh, there we go. There's gelatinous. It's also chunky. I think I messed up. Well, we're just going to keep going and see how messed up it actually is. But, okay, so form gelatinous mass, which I don't think it's a mass yet. It was sticking. So let's try it out here again. I think this is one of those things where it heats a little, take it off the heat a little. Because I do think that it wants to be more sticky than this. I think it wants to be more like a loose caramel than like a liquid caramel. Because right now it's more like a liquid caramel. I think we want more of a thick caramel. I didn't realize it was going to stick to the pan like it did. Uh-oh. We're doing good. We're doing good. Just keep mixing. Keep mixing. Don't stop mixing. I just didn't realize that it was going to like be a weird thing in the bottom of the pan. Okay, you can see it's kind of like a custard because you can see like as I mix, it leaves parts of the pan exposed on the bottom. But listening to this is like the carol of the bells, but it's the mixing of the pan. There we go. Oh, we'll start my new like Blue Man group, but it'll be the baking musical group, I guess. I don't know. Who's gonna come be in a musical baking band with me? Oh my gosh, I never thought I would say those words together. Musical baking band. Who wants to be in a musical baking band? Like the Blue Man group, but baking stuff. I don't know what kind of music we'd make. Oh, I know that like when TikTok started, there was a bunch of like food creation videos where they would actually take sounds like the whisk or like chopping and make like a rhythmic video to it. Which, if I had more patience, I could do. Anyone want to edit videos for me? I don't have the patience for it. I'll try, and then I get frustrated and I walk away and I come back and nothing is the way I like it, and so I start all over again. And I just do that over and over again on the same video until I run out of patience. This is why I do live streams, because I don't have the patience to edit. I don't have anybody in my life who will edit either, so we're just gonna do live streams and just cook stuff. Well, we're not. Is this considered cooking or baking? I think it's still in the realm of baking because it's still like making confectionaries, which is part of baking. But this is not actually baking. Like, because I was saying, like, this is kind of like making a pâte à choux. I've never made a pâte à choux. That's something else we can work on. We can try to make is a pâte à choux. And that's just like a cooked dough. Like you bring stuff up to a boil, you add the flour, and then you just like mix and cook it. And then you add eggs, and it turns into a like pipeable dough. and then you pipe it out and it becomes stuff. Like, that's pas de choux. And I feel like this is something very similar. This is a very similar process. At least it looks like a similar process. So let's see. I don't know. This looks like it's coming to a boil and it's kind of thick. And it's like getting stringy-ish, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you? It makes sense to me. Like, as I'm stirring it, it kind of comes together. So I'm going to pretend that that's what it's supposed to be doing. Let's turn the heat off because it doesn't say to return back to the heat after this. Just as rest of the tapioca starch, fold and mix as well as possible. Turn dough onto a clean, smooth work surface. And it's normal to have some dry spots of tapioca starch and a few lumps, and then knead it into a smooth dough. Scrape as much dough from the pan as possible. And this is why we have our spatula. Let's try whisking first and see where that gets us. It gets us with cornstarch everywhere. Oh, tapioca starch, not cornstarch. I wonder if you can use cornstarch for this. I'm not sure. Interesting things to think. Oh, this is reminding me of dragon candy. I want to make dragon candy at some point too. Do you guys know what dragon candy is? It's basically like if you look it up in like YouTube or TikTok kind of places, dragon candy is like a pulled sugar candy. You make like a sugar ring and you pull it and then you like twist it and you pull it and twist it, and it ends up kind of being like cotton candy from what I've seen. That's what everybody equates it to anyway. I don't know if it's actually like cotton candy like, but it makes these like really fine strings, and you do need to coat those in cornstarch or they don't work right. So this is why this is reminding me of that, because it looks like the dragon candy when you're like all cornstarch it. I really need to figure out a way to not get all of this stuff trapped inside of the whisk like it always does. Let's see, this is really clumpy. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. That's okay. We'll work on it. I'm tired of stirring it with the whisk, so we're going to dump this and see if we can knead it. I'm not sure how well that's going to work, but let's try. It's also really warm. Like, this was just boiling on the stove a second ago. So let's knead it with our hands. You gotta love baker's logic, eh? This is hot. Let's touch it. I love that logic. Look, it's a big pile of a mess. I wonder if there's a way to get like a bendy spatula that's a little bit stiffer than this. I think there is. Like, I don't know where to find them. These are the ones I find everywhere. Huh. There's just more stuff in here. It says get as much as you can, which lets me know that there's going to be some stuck in the bottom. It's a trap. It's a trap. They've trapped the... Why is the only word coming to mind Zamboni? This is not a Zamboni. All right, now we get a little scraping ASMR. Let's scrape the corners of all of their good, juicy stuff. I just want as much of the sugar in one place as possible, and I feel like the corners of this pan are holding the sugar. Like, I don't care about the tapioca starch. I will totally just pour more tapioca starch. But getting the sugar mixture is the hard part, and I don't want to mess that up. Okay, but this is really crumbly right now. Hopefully, this will come together the way I want it to. But this is part of the hard thing with making boba, is that it's hard to get the texture right. And this doesn't seem like a lot, especially when I'm used to making big batches of dough and stuff that take like 5 cups of flour and stuff. So the fact that I have 100 grams of tapioca pudding along with some sugar and water, and I'm trying to like, let's make a dough, and it's just a crumble mess. I feel like this is kind of like how a pie dough is. Yeah, like you mix all the butter in and add a little bit of water, and it's like, it's crumbly. It's like, yeah, but just work it a little bit and it'll come together. Um, so far, the coming together is not happening as much as I would like. Um, I don't know if I cooked it too much or if I just need to work it more. So we're just gonna keep going, and it's just, it feels like it's getting more and more crumbly versus less and less. So I don't know what this is doing. We're trying recipes today, Boba. Well, every day no, just not every day, but most days we're trying recipes. And today is definitely a trial day because I have never made either of these, boba or meringues, if that's not apparent by watching what we were doing. I almost want to put like a little sprinkle of water in here because it's just so dry. Like I don't like I'm fold and press and fold and it crumbles and it's like, are you just gonna crumble apart or are you gonna actually come together? Oh my goodness. So when this comes together, it looks nice and pretty and it should be like wispy. Well, not wispy. It looks like a really good dough. Like like a pie dough almost, or like a brioche kind of dough, like an enriched dough. That's what it looks like. Well, according to everybody I've watched make boba on the internet. This is not pretty. This is crumbly and a mess. So just keep pressing my crumbled mess back together and hope that it actually becomes something. I think it's going to though. Oh goodness. See, I press and I press and it's still crumbling to pieces. I am seriously about to add a little bit of water to this. This is warm. It's not super hot still. We need a smooth dough. Still soft and warm and a little tacky. This is not tacky at all. This is crumbly. So, you know what? We're just going to put a little sprinkle of water on here. Sprinkle. And let's see what that does. Please come together. Oop. That was slip and slide. I don't know if you've ever added water to Play-Doh. How it makes the outside like super slippery and it just slides. That's what just felt like. But I feel like it's coming together a little bit better. So maybe we just put too much water. Maybe like I cooked too much water out of it. Or maybe I just measured too much of the tapioca when I pulled it out. I don't know. But this actually feels a lot better. Instead of like I squeeze it and it like feels like it's holding together versus feeling like it's immediately crumbling apart. But yeah, no, I feel like this definitely needs just a little bit more water. I don't know. Something in here when I was doing it, it didn't have enough water. Alright. And this looks kind of tan. If you want it to be brown, it does say to add cocoa powder, and I was going to do that, but I didn't feel like digging out the cocoa powder because it's behind some stuff. So we'll see what color these little balls turn out. If I can even get a dough. I might not get a dough. If I don't get a dough, then we won't have boba because it won't come together. I guess I could try making it again. let's see what happens. I think adding a little bit of water is helping because I feel like it's coming together a little bit better, but I'm not sure because, like, in some places, like, this kind of feels pliable, but then it's also like crumble. So I wonder if I cooked the sugar too long, and so it got to like a crumbly point, like a hard crack versus um soft ball. If anybody knows anything about candy making? All right. I might try something weird here in a minute. Let's see if adding all this water is helpful. Like if this will knead out into something. Um, but when I was watching Josh Weissman, and he was saying that if your dough starts getting too hard, this is after you've kneaded it into a thing. But he was saying if it got too hard, then you could put it in the microwave for a few seconds and it would loosen up and you could continue forming it into balls. But since I have a crumbly mess, I wonder if I put this in the microwave for like 5 seconds, just a couple of seconds, if that will like loosen everything and heat it enough to kind of come together. So adding more water has definitely helped. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I can tell because it's still crumbly, but it's um it feels more like clay than powder, flour kind of stuff. Before it felt very powdery, and now it feels more like clay. Okay. I feel like I might be adding too much water today. We'll see. We'll see. Ooh, it's like sliding, and because it's coming together, I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. Oh gosh, that's a song to a movie I recently listened to. So, oh, it's my kids listen to a lot of like remixes of songs that are actually about like Among Us. And that's what I'm remembering. It's one of the Among Us songs. It's I don't know if there's actually songs for the game Among Us, but there's at least songs that like people on YouTube and everything have remixed to go to Among Us. So see that like balls up and it gets like doughy versus like crumbly. Well, see that did kind of like as I roll it in my hand, it's coming together and it forms like this feels doughy, but it also feels kind of dry. So a little bit more water, and then I'm gonna microwave this. Uh, I really think it's gonna come together. Like I believe in you, dough. I believe in you. Stop sticking to my hand. Gosh darn it. Come on. Come on, let us see. Come. But see, like I just touch it and it like crumbles. And I don't think it's supposed to do that. I don't know, but I don't think so. Okay, well, let's put this in a bowl. Here's the bowl we were using. We're just gonna put all of this in here, and hopefully it will like heat up and come together nicely. That is the plan. That is the goal. Because like it's kind of sticking together-ish in places. Like I squeeze it together and it sticks together. See, look, it's all sticking together. And when I knead it a little bit, it will look smooth. But then you kind of just push it a little bit and it crumbles apart. Oh, shoot. I was trying to, okay. I was trying to do all that on camera and apparently I did it off camera. All right, so knead it a little bit and it comes together. And look, we got like a little dough, but then you like push it and just smush a little bit and it like crumbled apart. So I don't know if that's a water issue or if it's a cooking issue or what kind of issue it is. So let's see, I'm going to just throw this in the microwave for a minute and see if that helps it. I don't know. I don't know if it will. I don't know. I don't know these things because I've never made this. We're trying stuff. All right, now that that's microwaved, it's warm at least. I don't know if that's gonna help with its like sticking together, but it's at least warm. So we got something started, and it seems like it's coming together a little bit nicer. Because like this, all these little edge crumbs. Before when I tried to kind of push this all together, it had a lot more edge crumbs. But it seems to be doing okay. Are we gonna actually mix up? Come on, dough. You can do it. You can become a dough. I believe in you. I believe in dough. I'm afraid of putting this back on the counter. I think it's gonna like crumble apart on me again. Oh, look, I was right. I feel like Dr. Robotnik out of Sonic the movie. Oh look, I was right. Note the lack of surprise. So, okay, let's knead this a little bit more. We're going to heat it up again, and then that should hopefully turn it into the dough of our dreams. That is not the dough of my dreams. Oh man. Hopefully this is just the water's not incorporated properly yet. That's what I'm hoping for. I do have more tapioca flour, so if I need to start this over again, I can. I just really rather not to. I like things to work on the first try. Oh man. And I don't even know how to fix this. I think this just had too much tapioca in it. I don't know. It's just not like it's looking a lot better since I put some more water in it, but it's just not looking the way it's supposed to. And I'm thinking maybe I cooked it too far. Because I either cooked it too far or I used too much tapioca. Which as I add water to this, it's feeling better. It's going from like a powder to a clay. So I think it's supposed to be more like a smooth Play-Doh versus a clay. Like a crumbly clay. Crumble required for using in medicines. I know how to speak, I promise. Sometimes. Sometimes I just forget how to speak. Actually, I don't forget how to speak. I forget what the next word is supposed to be. And so I just stop and think about it until I either find the word or I just look weird and I have to move on to the next thing. But this feels very powdery. It feels clay. It like the texture kind of feels like clay, but it also feels like powder. It's kind of like when you play with cornstarch mixed with water and how it's that Newtonian fluid and it like when you're trying to move it hard, it like solidifies and you can't do anything with it, but then like you relax and it just like becomes a liquid and starts dripping everywhere. But it kind of still has like a powderiness to it. That's how I feel like this is. It's just crumbly. So I keep thinking like maybe I just need to add a little bit more water. And I don't know if you noticed, I got most of it to just come together. Now, it came together into a single ball and then started falling apart the minute I tried to do something with it. But before, I don't remember, like when I started this kneading journey, it was all just like powdery, crumbly, which makes me think that I cooked it too long and I got it into like a hard crack stage. And so, like, the sugar molecules crumbled apart versus like becoming sticky taffy. I don't think this is supposed to be taffy either, but because that's why you have this tapioca starch to make it gummy. But I think that the taffy helps with the texture. And if I cooked it too long, then it would be cracking and crumbling, which is kind of what I feel like is happening here. But I also feel like it was really dry, so maybe it just didn't have enough liquid in it. Because like right now, it it still feels powdery, but I think that's more of the tapioca starch than the actual like what I'm doing here. I think it's just the tapioca starch or it's tapioca flour. So maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe I used the wrong ingredient. That is another thing. Because I didn't get just tapioca starch, I got tapioca flour. And this is also known as tapioca starch. So it's supposed to be the thing, but maybe it's something different. See, it's kind of coming together, but then like break, and it's not becoming doughy. I want a dough. I want a nice Play-Doh. That is what I'm wanting. And it's not a nice Play-Doh. Not right now, anyway. Right now, it is like it's coming together. That's better than nothing, but it's still crumbly. See? Still crumbly. Like, again, maybe I just don't have enough water in it. Maybe that's my problem. Here, we're gonna put all of this back in the bowl, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of water. I'm not gonna mix it, and I'm gonna put it in the microwave for 10 seconds and see if that does anything. But it feels like dry clay. That's kind of what it feels like when you have clay that's not quite wet enough to make into something. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've played with clay, but when I was a kid and I played with clay a lot more, I got a lot more used to textures of clay. So we have this. I guess it was mostly Play-Doh and not like clay. But anyway, drop of water. Like wait for 10 seconds. How far are we into this live stream? Hour and a half. Because apparently me setting a timer on the microwave didn't come out properly. And so now I have no idea how long those have been in the oven. Okay, well, let's pretend it's been 30 minutes. I don't know if having them at a temperature will be more detrimental if I have them like cooking at 200 degrees for longer than the 45 minutes. I tried to set a timer, it just failed. So now what do we do? Because like I said, I'm trying to not open the oven if I can help it. But putting this in the microwave for a few seconds has made it like absorb the water better or something, and it's more of a dough. So I'm liking this. I don't know if it's absorbing water better. I don't know if it's just like the sugar's more melty or what's going on with it, but it's working and I like it. So mix together. But this is still really crumbly, see? And I want it to be not like this. Oh, this is like how like peanut butter fudge like comes together. It's not doughy. It's not crumbly. Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit more water and a little bit more time in the microwave, and hopefully this will be where we need it. I'm making a mess. This is a big mess. Luckily, I'm an adult and I know how to clean up a mess. Because otherwise, this would be awful. See, now like it's all watery on the outside, and I don't know if that's a good sign or not. This is supposed to be tacky, and now we're getting into tacky. But I feel like I've added a lot of water to this. Oh, man. This is hot though. Well, it's not hot. It's really warm. My kids would probably call this hot. Like, Mom, it's too hot. It's not too hot. Well, it's not too hot for me anyway. So glad I started wearing my kid's apron. I need to get my own apron. Let's get our own aprons. Get an apron that says, let's bake. Let's bake something. That's what I want to do. I just want to bake something. Oh, gosh. Well, and it's also looking like this, it's shiny versus like it's wet, if that makes any sense. Like the shininess, like the what I think is wet just kind of looks shiny. Okay. Well, I'm trying everything I can think of to make this work. Everything. And so far it's not working. We're not gonna give up yet. I feel kind of ready to give up because or at least take a break from this because this is just not coming together and it's not working the way it's supposed to, and I can't figure out what I did wrong. And I keep trying to fix it. But maybe just a little bit more kneading is what it needs. Maybe I just need to knead it longer. There's these people on Facebook that what they do is it's mostly like the lady bakes and then her husband tries everything, and she makes like the best recipes on the Food Network or the worst recipes on the Food Network. And one of the recipes was like really, really crumbly, but she ended up being able to work it together. It just took more work than what she was expecting. And it's probably more work than what most people were expecting. And it's probably why it had a bad rating. And so I want to, like, am I having a hard time because I'm just not giving it enough? Or am I having a hard time because it's made wrong and it's not going to come together right? Right? So I don't know. And I'm trying to see if I can get it to work. Because like when I press it like this looks like it should be the right kind of dough. And then it doesn't stick to me and it's sticking together. But then, like the second I try to do something, it just like falls apart. So it's making me think that if I were to actually, I don't even know if I could actually turn this into boba balls because I don't know if they're going to actually stay together. And then once they do stay together, then are they going to fall apart the moment I put them in boiling water? Like, they're not like dumplings. Like dumplings, the outside cooks and then the outside cooking holds the middle together. But is this like dumplings and that's gonna like if I put them in the water, or is it gonna just like dissolve the second I put it? Well, not dissolve the second I put it in water, but if I spend the time and effort to make the balls and I'm able to get them to stay in balls, and then I put them in boiling water, are they going to immediately fall apart? or fall apart within a few minutes because these are supposed to cook for like 30 minutes in boiling water. So they do say that the hard part about boba is getting the texture right. So that's what I think I'm running into, that I just don't have the texture right. I don't. At least I got the meringue texture right. I know that one was right. 50% today. 50%. Okay, so anyone remember that really bad smelling clay? Maybe some people liked it, but to me it just smelled like weird chemicals. The color of this reminds me of that clay. You get it from like the craft store. It comes in the kids kits or whatever. It's usually this weird tan color and it smells like chemical cleaner. And you form it into stuff and let it sit and it hardens up and becomes a thing. All right, well, let's see with these. Can I even, like, they'll roll into balls, but like, would I have to fully harden it, or like, would it stay as a ball? I don't even know. Like, if I put this in boiling water, will it stay in ball shape? And they say to cover them in tapioca powder so that they don't stick together. But I don't think I'd have an issue with these sticking together since they don't want to stick together to begin with. All right. Let's try to do something with this. Well, at least we can say we tried. If it falls apart, then it falls apart. But I don't know if this is gonna work or not. See, this is all just a crumbled mess. See, this is why we do this, because you look on these channels and they show you, oh, look, it's a lovely finished product. I did it perfectly. Okay, where are all the times that you did it wrong and how did you fix it? And how could you tell that you did it wrong? I didn't film that. I didn't put that on the internet. Oh, of course you didn't put that on the internet. I'm putting it on the internet. Hello, internet. Apparently I'm doing this wrong. I don't know. All right, 6 million years later. Yeah. Yep, nope. I'm gonna call it a day on the boba because I just don't think this is, something's not right with the dough and I need to start over, and I don't have the patience to start over right now. So I will start over on another day. We have milk tea at least. Let's see if we can get the boba pearls together. But for the moment, I'm just gonna put this in the bowl. I'm going to step away and try to do some research and see if there's anything I can do to fix this. And if not, then I'll toss it and I'll just see about making a fresh batch later because I'm just frustrated. We made a mess, and mess isn't coming together the way it's supposed to. But, like, okay, so one of the ways I wanted to try to roll this, because yeah, you can roll it in your hand, but I wanted to see if I could roll it on the counter. And because sometimes there's a way that you can roll like multiple things, like with your hand, um, but that just kind of fell apart versus like rolling into a ball. So if I want little strips, makes a bunch of little strips. Oh, look, a cute little boba's something or other falling apart. Yeah. So I think I just did this wrong. We'll revisit this later. Okay, so we'll have a boba part 2 at some point where we just try to make boba again. Okay, but it has been an hour and 45 minutes. And while the timer didn't turn on correctly, let's take a look at these rings. They look nice. They look fun. They look shiny and pretty. I think they've been baking for about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. I'm going to let them bake for another 15 minutes, and then I'm going to turn the oven off and forget about them for a couple hours. And then when we make dinner, I'll probably pull them out of the oven. So that is going to be what I'm doing today. Let's talk to you directly. People, let's see. From the stage. All right, here we go. Hi. So, yeah, Boba didn't turn out quite the way we're expecting, but it's okay. We'll try it again sometime. That's what happens. You try something, it doesn't work. You try something, you figure out what works, what doesn't. Well, apparently what we did today, or what I did today, didn't quite work. Now we know. Good job learning, people. All right, so if you want to know about everything going on, you can check out my blog, check out any of my Facebook posts, because I've been posting about things as they're happening. So the new challenge theme should come out tomorrow, and I'll put up a post on my YouTube page. So follow over to the YouTube page to vote on what we do for the challenge next week, and then I will update everything, like the titles and all of that stuff, on Saturday or Sunday, depending on like if we get a lot of responses to the poll right away, then I'll probably update on Saturday. If not, then I'll give it a little bit of time and update on Sunday so that we know what we're making. I do have a poll up right now to kind of solidify what I'm making for St. Patrick's Day, because right now we are making soda bread, but soda bread's really fast. It's like muffins or biscuits. It comes together really quick, you bake it, it's done. It's really, really fast. So I put up a poll on my YouTube page. Go over there, look down, look somewhere, go somewhere. There's links in the description. Check those out. And that should help you find the poll. So help me out with what we're gonna make for St. Patrick's Day. And then that'll be the same place that the poll is for the baking challenge. So check that out as well. We'll have to figure out when we're gonna try boba again. That might be like an extra live stream on a weird day. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, those meringue cookies, they're just gonna sit in the oven for a couple hours, and I will definitely take pictures and post them on Facebook and somewhere in the YouTubes and all of that, so you'll be able to see that. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate all your support, and I will see you on Tuesday. Bye.